Hey guys, this is Ridgeline Boys. This is our first video for YouTube. We've been looking up a lot of stuff on, we work on 6 liters, 90% of the time, 6 liter Powerstrokes, 03 to 07. This is our shop truck here. It's got 300,000 miles on it. It's a good truck. We use it for everything. We wanted to do a video on how to pull the turbo out, put the turbo back in, and then we're gonna go ahead and rebuild it, put some high flow vanes in it, and then a 9-blade exhaust wheel. It's pretty easy tool wise to do this job. Everybody seems to make it, sound like an Olympic event, but you're only going to need a basic set of tools. You don't even have to have electric hand tools or anything like that. You can just have ratchets if you want to. But what you're going to need, honestly, a 10 wrench or 10 gear wrench, an 11 deep socket, an 8 deep socket, a 10, some flathead screwdrivers. If you don't have a body clip tool, you can just use 2 flathead screwdrivers, some zip ties, extensions, and a couple sets of needle nose pliers. So we'll just get into it. Okay, first things first, we're gonna take our 8, put it on our gun, set a 90-degree needle nose pliers, works great. We come over here to our coolant tank. So right here, your clamp, your stock clamp for your coolant tank, we're gonna go ahead, these 90s fit absolutely perfect in there. Just take that. Sorry if I'm in the way of the camera. This is our first one, so give us a little grace. There we go. Pull that off all the way. Go ahead and break that loose and just slowly pull back. And then that falls down right in there. And we're gonna take from our radiator, our hose clamp, come off of there, pull that one off. And then, for the sake of the video, I'll just do it up here. 90s again. Right there. Take that off, and then use our bolts. Do that. Set our bolts here so they don't go anywhere. Put your cap on. Pull your tank up and out. Okay, next, we're gonna go ahead and do our intake. So we're gonna unplug our mass airflow sensor. We'll just take our 2 clips off here so they don't fall down in the engine. And then your restrictor button thing, just pull that out, set that aside. And then I'm gonna grab our tin here. Take your bracket off. It depends on what year you got. If it's a 03, it's a little different. If it's a 04.5 and up, it'll be this bracket here. Set those up there. And then I'm gonna go ahead with our 8. Take the clamp off here, pull this off. Come on, sweetheart. There we go. And then I'm gonna pull this whole deal off. And you can leave the intake filter if you want, or pull it out, doesn't matter. I mean, it's whatever you wanna do. Everybody's different. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna jump up top. And grab, all right, so what you're going to want to do here is you've got these have been out quite a few times because we carry this truck down a lot. Take your body clips out and then set those over there. I'm going to go ahead and grab our 8 and take off our clamp right in there. I don't know if you can see that. Right in there for our intake. Loosen that bad chicken up there. And then you're gonna pop your crankcase breather tube out right there, and then pull your intake out. And also, for the sake of the video, we already drained the coolant. Obviously, you noticed that when we pulled the coolant tank out, we already drained the coolant off. So, because that just takes time that we didn't want in the video. Now I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna spray everything with WD-40, every clamp in the back underneath the turbo there. So your up pipe clamp, your down pipe clamp, and then your intercooler boot clamps. All right. I'm gonna jump up in here, spray your downpipe clamp, just everywhere is fine. Can't have too much. And then what I do here, I don't know if a lot of people do this or not, but I'll move these tools over. And for your plastic cowling that comes over top here, there's just 2 body clips in here. Pull this off. Go ahead and take a zip tie or 2, depending on the length of your zip ties. Put them together here, like that. Go up to your windshield wiper, and then look how open and exposed you are right now to your turbo. So we'll spray this intercooler boot clamp. Always just get the threads. Do not ever get any WD-40 on the boots, on the inside of the boots, anything like that, because you're going to have a lot of issues with the boots blowing off, because that is your boost tube. So I'll get that back away. Okay. Now what we're going to do, I'll show you here. If you take your 3/8 ratchet, 8, and then you have a 10 gear wrench, I already brought it up here. You can come over to your turbo and take off your oil supply line and set that under here. Your gear wrench can go underneath or upside down right there. Break that loose. Flip it over. Do this top one. And you spin those out. Up there. Okay. So that. Now you can take a long extension, 8mm socket, and your 3/8 ratchet. And you'll come down in here. You can't see it in the camera, but you can come down in here for the bottom part of your oil supply line. There is an 8mm bolt. I'll put that tape right there. There's an 8mm bolt. You can loosen that up. Come on. Come on, sweetheart. And this will be ready to come out. Your oil supply line will be ready to come out. But what we're going to do first, we're going to loosen up intercooler boot clamp right there. I always take it off on the turbo side and then the intercooler side. I always leave the pipe clamps on this side, and on the top and bottom, I always just leave them on the pipe. And then we take our long extension, come down here. This one's a little hard to get to sometimes, depending on where it's at. Now, you're gonna see oil on these boots. That's from your crankcase vent. Don't worry about it. I mean, you can obviously clean them up, but it's not like, doesn't mean your turbo is going out or anything like that. Take this, kind of move that clamp around like that. It gets it loosened up, and then I always, just depends on the guy, but I always just leave the clamp on the intercooler. If my little spring will come loose. Like I said, this truck has been apart quite a few times because we like to try different things to it and whatever. So now you can take your intercooler boot off of your turbo, off of there, off your intercooler, and come off, and that's off. You set this aside. All right, now this is a little different than most people, but it works the easiest for me. Like I said, I've done thousands of these turbos, thousands of these engines. That's all we do. So I take the alternator out when I pull the turbo. Just that way it's a lot more room, a lot easier to do. Some guys can agree with me, some guys don't. It is what it is. If you have a stock Ford belt tensioner, you will have, we already loosened it and set the keeper. But right down here, I don't know if you can get that in the video. Right. Oh, it's all right. So right down here is a little keeper that goes to hold the tensioner open. So if you pull on the belt, have somebody pull on the belt for you, it'll lock that tensioner for you, and then your belt is loose. And then we'll show you at the end of the video how to set it, reset it, and it's basically just pulling the belt, and then it comes off. It pulls off the keeper, and then your tension hits back up. Now, you're gonna wanna take off your hot wire to your alternator and your signal wire. Now, 0304, the hot wire and plug-in are on top of the alternator. 05 and up are on the side, but it's the same concept. It is what it is. So we'll take that off there. Use just a 10 or whatever. Okay. And then what you don't want to happen, this wire is hot all the time because it comes straight from the battery. So you can either cover this up, or I like to be precautionary, and I just unhook it right here at the battery terminal. Now this pickup is a little different because I had to replace these terminals and they're pretty janky, I'm sorry. But the stock one will have a stud coming up with the 10mm nut right here. So if you just move this out of the way, then you don't have power going to this anymore. Let me jump down and grab a 13. So you can come in here, loosen all these 13s up. Okay. And then we have to take our signal wire plug in off the back of the alternator. You can just push on that and it comes up and off. Loosen all our bolts up. Oop. Right there. Alternator's off. Okay, super easy, super easy to do. Just gained you so much more room in the midst of everything. And now, finally getting down to business. So, I'm gonna jump up here. We got our supply line bolts out. 2 10s up here, 1 8 right down there. We're just gonna wiggle that because that's just an O-ring holding it in now. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Right there, okay. O-ring, blue O-ring. This one's still in good shape. Unplug your VGT solenoid. Move that out of the way. Okay, so now use our 11 7/16, whatever you want to use. They're both the same. You can come over here. Take this clamp off. Now, on the stock pipe, I'll use just a flathead right here. Go in, pop that off. On the stock down pipe, you will have a keeper on top right there to hold the top of the pipe. Now on a 4-inch exhaust kit or whatever aftermarket, it will not have this keeper. So beware that the pipe might fall or get out of the way or whatever, and you might have to maneuver it around a little bit. So next, this is usually the hardest part for people, is your up pipe clamp. Now your up pipe clamp sits in the back. That's what brings your exhaust from your manifold up to your turbocharger. So now, since we've pulled this turbo out many times and done many things, we have this clamp facing straight up, the bolt facing straight up. It may be in a different position, facing backwards, whatever. You might have to use a small ratchet or a gear wrench, or a regular wrench or whatever to get that clamp off. But we've got it already facing this way. Come in, back that off a decent way. We'll go a little bit more. Come on. Okay. Back that off a decent way. And then you can come in, because it's a T-bolt, kind of like this one. Here, you can show this one in the video. It's a T-bolt style clamp. So it comes over top like that. And you can just kind of go and unlock it on the back side of your charger, just like that. And on this one, I have this there's three sections to it that hold the V-band from the turbo to the up pipes. The back section is broke loose and the bottom section, or the front section is broke loose. So I need to do the bottom section. You can come in here a few different ways. I don't know if this screwdriver will get it. I might need to get a shorter one, which I have. Let me go grab one. Okay, so we can come in here. I don't know if I'll be able to get it with that. Let's see here. And just kind of maneuver it around a little bit. Right there, just like that. And it broke it loose. This is where your WD-40, maybe a little warming the truck up, will help you get that loose over time. I mean, obviously there's going to be trucks that have had the turbo on for, you know, 50, 100,000 miles, and it's going to be a lot harder to do. So now we take our 10 gear wrench. We have a bolt here. I'm going to show that. Bolt right there. And then we have another bolt on the lateral side right there. And now there's usually a back bolt. And on 03s, it will come straight in from the back. 04.5 and up, it will go straight down. Now I don't put the back bolt back in because I don't like screaming and cussing and stuff like that when Russ is the one that holds it in. But that's up to you what you want to do. I don't care. It just helps it. Just helps it. And you come in. I don't know if you can see that. Loosen these bolts up. And this truck is completely stock, besides some O-ringed heads, studs, this turbo, little bit of tuning, other than that, an exhaust, but it's completely stock. So there's nothing crazy or different. I'll just take this other side out real quick. And then gloves are a little slippery. So this is an 03 Charger and an 04 truck. So it's going to be a little different on the mount and things like that. I would advise always just keeping an 04 Charger and an 04 truck, 03 Charger, 03 truck, so on and so forth. But we like to try different things. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to break this turbo loose. Our bolts are out. We're just going to pick it up and out like that. And your turbo's out. Good to go. See you on the next one.